Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2563 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, we begin the exploration of Psalm 46, focusing on verses 1 through 3 from the New Living Translation. This psalm is a powerful declaration of God's protection and strength, reminding us that He remains our refuge even in times of chaos and uncertainty. The themes of this passage are deeply relevant to our lives today. We all face seasons of turmoil, times when the world around us seems to be unstable and fear threatens to overwhelm us. Yet Psalm 46 calls us to shift our focus from the storms to the unshakable security of God's presence. Let's begin by reading this passage together. Psalm 46, verses 1 through 3. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not fear when earthquakes come and the mountains crumble into the sea. Let the oceans roar and foam. Let the mountains tremble as the waters surge. The psalm opens with a powerful statement. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help us in times of trouble. The words refuge paints a picture of a strong fortress, a place of safety amid a storm. When life feels overwhelming, God offers Himself as a shelter where we can find peace and security. But God is not just a place of refuge, He is also our strength. He doesn't simply offer protection and leave us to fend for ourselves. He empowers us to stand firm. This reminds us that God is not distant or indifferent. He is always ready to help, present in our struggles, and never caught off guard by our troubles. Imagine a lighthouse standing firm during a raging storm. No matter how fierce the winds or the waves become, the lighthouse remains unmoved, offering guidance and safety to weary sailors. That's the picture of God as our refuge, unshakable, ever-present, and always available. What do we turn to when troubles come? Some seek refuge in financial security, relationships, or personal strength. But those things can fail us. Psalm chapter 46, verse 1 calls us to find security in God alone. When we make Him our refuge, we discover peace that surpasses understanding. Because God is our refuge and strength, we will not fear when the earthquakes come and the mountains crumble in the sea. This verse describes a scene of utter destruction: earthquakes, crumbling mountains, and shifting landscapes. These are images of things that we assume to be unmovable, suddenly collapsing. The psalmist is not just speaking of natural disasters, he is illustrating moments in life when everything we once trusted feels unstable. Imagine standing on a bridge when an earthquake hits. The very ground beneath your feet begins to shake, and the bridge begins to sway violently. Fear would be our natural response. Yet the psalmist declares that we will not fear, not because the shaking isn't real, but because of our confidence is in God, not the ground beneath us. Have you ever faced a season when life seemed to collapse around you? Maybe it was a financial crisis, a loss of a loved one, or an unexpected diagnosis. In those moments, it's easy to feel afraid. But Psalm 46 reminds us that God remains unshakable even when everything else falls apart. He is our refuge, and we can trust in Him to hold us steady. Verse 3 intensifies the imagery. Let the oceans roar and foam. Let the mountains tremble as the waters surge. This is a poetic way of describing uncontrollable chaos. The roaring ocean and the trembling mountain symbolizes the unpredictable nature of life. Yet even in the storm, the psalmist does not waver. This is an underlying confidence in God's power that overrides our fear. Think about a child in the middle of a thunderstorm. Lightning flashes, thunder crashes, and rain pours against the windows. But if the child is resting in the arms of a loving parent, they feel secure despite the storm. The presence of someone stronger gives them peace. What storms are you facing today? Maybe your world feels like a roaring sea, chaotic, uncertain, and overwhelming. Psalm 46 calls us to trust that no storm is bigger than God. He is not shaken by the things that shake us. He invites us to rest in His strength. Psalm 46 verses 1 through 3 teaches us several key truths about God's presence in our lives. The first is, God is our refuge. When life feels overwhelming, He is our safe place. We don't have to carry our burdens alone. He invites us to take shelter in Him. Second, God is our strength. He does not just shield us from trouble, He gives us the strength to face it. His power is made perfect in our weakness. Third, God is always present. He is not distant in our struggles. Even when we don't feel His presence, He is working for our good. And fourth, we do not have to fear. The world is unstable, but God is not. When our trust is in Him, we can have peace even in the middle of uncertainty. How can we apply these truths to our daily lives? Well, we need to realize that when trouble comes, run to God first. Instead of relying on temporary comforts, turn to Him in prayer. Meditate on His promises and seek the refuge in His Word. Next, we need to trust God when life feels uncertain. When things seem to fall apart, remind yourself that God is in control. Choose faith over fear by standing on His unshakable truth. Next, speak truth over fear. When anxiety tries to take over, declare Psalm 46 verses 1 through 3 as a reminder of who God is. Instead of focusing on the storm, focus on God's strength. And finally, encourage others who are struggling. If you know someone going through a difficult season, remind them that God is their refuge and strength. Share how He's been faithful in your life. As we reflect on Psalm 46 verses 1 through 3, we are reminded that God is our unshakable refuge and strength no matter what storms we face. The world may be unpredictable, but He is constant. When we trust in Him, we find peace amid our uncertainty. Thank you for joining me today on our Wisdom Trek. And as you go through this week, I encourage you to lean on God's presence, trust in His strength, and walk confidently, knowing that He is always with you. Until the next time, may God's wisdom guide your steps, and may His peace fill your hearts. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.